James Webb spots a strange anomaly on 3I Atlas.
Things have gotten very, very interesting.
An intelligent visitor from another solar system.
It started as a whisper across the astronomy community, a quiet alert sent to observatories around the world. Update: Webb Telescope confirms multiple anomalous readings from 3I/ATLAS. Few took notice at first. After all, 3I/ATLAS was supposed to be just another interstellar traveler, a frozen relic drifting through space, silent and unremarkable. But that changed 1 minute ago. For the first time since its discovery, scientists have confirmed 3 distinct anomalies surrounding 3I/ATLAS that defy all known models of natural behavior. The findings are shaking the foundation of astrophysics and igniting a storm of secrecy and speculation. When 3I/ATLAS was first detected, it joined the ranks of Oumuamua and Borisov, the only confirmed interstellar visitors ever observed in our solar system. But unlike its predecessors, 3I/ATLAS refused to behave. From its velocity to its spectral composition, everything about it seemed slightly off, as if mimicking the characteristics of a natural object without actually being one. At the time, most astronomers brushed off these inconsistencies as observational noise. But the James Webb Space Telescope, equipped with the most precise instruments humanity has ever launched, saw something different, something that couldn't be dismissed as error. Anomaly 1 began with a whisper, literally. In early November, radio astronomers at the Atacama Large Millimeter Array picked up a rhythmic pulse emanating from the direction of 3I/ATLAS. The signal was faint but repetitive, cycling every 46 minutes. At first, researchers thought it might be a background quasar or a pulsar interference, but further analysis revealed the pattern wasn't random. The frequency drifted ever so slightly, as though modulating itself, intentionally correcting errors during transmission. Dr. Elaine Foster, an astrophysicist at JPL, described the pulse as a controlled broadcast. Each cycle carried a consistent phase shift equivalent to an encryption header. When the data was graphed, it formed a symmetrical waveform unlike any natural pulsation ever recorded. When the news leaked, NASA immediately downplayed the phenomenon, labeling it instrumental interference. But independent observatories in Japan, South Africa, and Australia all confirmed identical readings. The pulse wasn't from Earth, it wasn't from space noise, it was coming from 3I/ATLAS. Weeks later, the James Webb Telescope turned its golden mirrors toward the object for a prolonged infrared study. What it found next became Anomaly 2, and it changed everything. High-resolution imaging revealed an unexpected geometry across the surface of 3I/ATLAS. Instead of chaotic craters and ridges typical of comets, Webb detected linear reflectivity bands perfectly aligned across several degrees of rotation. Under thermal imaging, those lines emitted a repeating pattern of heat, like panels warming in sequence. It was as if the object's surface wasn't rock or ice, but layered composite material. Engineered, segmented, deliberate. The reflectivity ratios indicated metallic density inconsistent with natural formation. Dr. Luis Aaron, a materials scientist analyzing Webb's spectral readouts, reported something astonishing. The reflectivity patterns followed a Fibonacci sequence. That's right, a mathematical ratio embedded within the object's own structure. It wasn't random geology, it was precision. The world might never have known about it, if not for a quiet leak. An internal memo from the Webb operations team surfaced online for mere minutes before being deleted. It stated, "Observed geometric albedo suggests controlled fabrication. Further classification recommended." Within hours, NASA's public servers removed all 3I/ATLAS imagery above 2.3 microns. When pressed for explanation, officials cited data calibration discrepancies. But off record, engineers whispered, "It's not a comet anymore." Then came Anomaly 3, and this one left even the skeptics speechless. For months, astronomers had tracked 3I/ATLAS as it coasted toward the inner solar system, following a path predicted by gravitational models. But on November 28th, its course shifted, ever so slightly, without any known external influence. No outgassing, no gravitational assist, no collision. Yet somehow, the object decelerated, corrected its trajectory, and aligned its path to intersect the Earth's orbital plane precisely 3 weeks from now. Mathematically, this should be impossible. No known natural object performs an autonomous course correction in deep space. The energy signature recorded during the maneuver was low but directed, as if an internal system had adjusted thrust output to fine-tune its vector. The implications were terrifying. Webb's sensors picked up a slight increase in infrared output during the course correction, consistent with propulsion or internal activation. At the same time, the strange pulse frequency began to shorten, shifting from every 46 minutes to every 41, then to 37. It was accelerating communication or warning us. Soon after, a supposed insider from the Webb data analysis team leaked screenshots of unfiltered composite images. Buried within the raw noise were faint geometric overlays, not optical artifacts, but symmetrical markings that seemed etched into the surface. Some analysts claimed these shapes mirrored ancient Mesopotamian sigils, the same that had been found in the archaeological site beneath the Iraqi sands, once rumored to hold the tomb of Gilgamesh. The coincidence was impossible to ignore. In both cases, the tomb and the comet, the same mathematical symmetry appeared, spirals conforming to the golden ratio, triangles nested within circles, and repeating trinary sequences. The leaked Webb data also contained metadata tags hinting at unauthorized image encryption. Frames labeled with NRF_sigma contained pixel noise that, when decoded using Fourier transforms, revealed recursive symbols, hidden code within deep space images, as if the object itself carried embedded data. The resemblance to digital steganography, hiding information within image data, stunned cybersecurity experts. Someone or something had left a message buried within the light itself. By this point, secrecy had reached fever pitch. Several independent researchers reported their access to Webb's open data API was suddenly revoked. Ground-based observatories attempting to re-image 3I/ATLAS were instructed to pause data submission for calibration. Behind closed doors, the U.S. Space Command began holding joint meetings with NASA, ESA, and the Department of Defense. Publicly, they called it a routine coordination exercise. Privately, insiders admitted they were preparing for contact scenarios. Yet official denial persisted. NASA issued a statement claiming 3I/ATLAS remained a naturally occurring body with irregular motion due to volatile ejection. But that explanation failed every physical model test. There were no emissions, no jets, no gas trails. Something else was driving it. As if the anomalies weren't enough, one final observation deepened the mystery. Using the Webb's NIR-SPEC instrument, researchers identified trace isotopes on the object's surface. Isotopes never before cataloged in any known star system. These isotopes emitted weak but stable gamma harmonics at frequencies matching the ancient resonance scales used in early human temples, particularly those built in Sumer and Akkad. It was as if the material was designed to vibrate in mathematical harmony with structures humanity hadn't even built yet. Theorists began connecting the dots. If 3I/ATLAS was artificial, then its arrival, timed with the Webb telescope's full operational capacity, couldn't be coincidence. It was meant to be seen. Some speculated it was a probe, perhaps a messenger left by an ancient civilization that once seeded life across worlds. Others suggested it was a returning vessel following a pre-programmed orbit to check on its creation. One compelling theory emerged from the Institute for Cosmic Anthropology. They proposed that 3I/ATLAS might be the same craft described in Sumerian texts, the celestial barge of the gods, sent forth from the heavens and promised to return when the star watchers awake. Sound absurd? Perhaps. But the data doesn't lie. As of this very minute, live telemetry shows 3I/ATLAS's rotation has slowed dramatically. The pulse frequency, once every 37 minutes, has now stabilized at exactly 33 minutes and 3 seconds, an interval matching the trinary harmonic ratio found in ancient Akkadian inscriptions. Then, the unthinkable happened. The latest signal carried an embedded harmonic sequence, the Fibonacci spiral mapped into sound. In mathematical terms, it was the universal signature of life, of design, of intent. The Webb's onboard instruments recorded one final flash of light from its surface, a triangular reflection pattern pulsing 3 times before fading into darkness. Immediately afterward, the signal ceased. Silence. But within that silence lay one final piece of data. Decoders at the SETI Institute managed to extract a coordinate embedded within the pulse harmonics, a precise location on Earth, latitude 32 degrees north, longitude 45 degrees east, deep within the deserts of Iraq. The exact region where, 2 decades earlier, archaeologists unearthed the fabled tomb believed to belong to Gilgamesh. Coincidence or connection? When the coordinates were cross-referenced with ancient Sumerian maps, they aligned with the legendary landing place of the sky gods, the place where the Anunnaki were said to have first descended. Scientists are now confronting an impossible possibility that 3I/ATLAS is not an interstellar wanderer but a returning artifact, perhaps even the same vessel that once visited Earth thousands of years ago. If true, the implications are staggering. Humanity might not be alone in the cosmos, not because life exists elsewhere, but because our own origins may be tied to visitors who left long ago and are now coming back. The debate rages on in private forums and encrypted channels. Independent astronomers continue to monitor 3I/ATLAS despite the blackout. Several have reported a soft optical glow emanating from the object, faintly visible even through amateur telescopes. Its color, a deep, pulsating gold. Experts warn that whatever is happening, it is escalating faster than anyone predicted. The object's deceleration continues, now aligning directly with Earth's orbital path. Calculations suggest that in 21 days, 3I/ATLAS will reach its perihelion, its closest approach to the Sun, and whatever lies inside may finally activate. The pulse could resume at any moment, or it could never return. But one thing is certain: the three anomalies, the pulse, the structure, and the trajectory, have forever changed how we view interstellar visitors. They prove that 3I/ATLAS is not what we think. Because if these readings are correct, it's not visiting us by accident. It's coming home. And somewhere beneath the Iraqi sands, in chambers lined with ancient inscriptions and unclassified relics, something stirs. For millennia, humanity has looked up to the heavens, wondering who might be out there. Now, the heavens may finally be looking back. The last whisper from the James Webb data team before the feed went dark read only 5 words. Transmission decoded, message received, prepare. The world went quiet for a moment, not because nothing was happening, but because too much was. Every major observatory, every defense satellite, every government listening post suddenly locked onto the same target: 3I/ATLAS. Whatever it was doing now, it was doing it in plain sight. For the first time since its detection, the object's entire surface lit up with a faint auroral shimmer, a spectral halo dancing across its body like charged plasma caught in a magnetic field. The light wasn't reflected sunlight, it was emission. The object was generating its own glow. Astronomers scrambled to interpret it. Spectrographs showed a complex interplay of hydrogen, carbon, and an unknown spectral line that didn't correspond to any element in the periodic table. The signal intensity pulsed in rhythm with the radio transmissions. Theories ran wild: an activation sequence, an energy redistribution, or something even stranger, a response. As the Webb telescope continued to record, engineers noticed something eerie buried within the data stream. The intensity pattern of the emissions matched the waveform of a human heartbeat. Not identical, but close enough that biophysicists couldn't ignore it. When the discovery leaked, panic spread online. Was 3I/ATLAS alive? NASA denied it, of course. Their spokesperson insisted the similarity was a coincidence of signal harmonics. But privately, researchers knew coincidences didn't follow Fibonacci ratios or golden sequence intervals. The synchronization was too exact. Meanwhile, at the European Space Operations Center, analysts observed yet another anomaly. As Earth's rotation aligned perfectly with 3I/ATLAS's line of sight, the pulse shifted to a new frequency band, one used exclusively by deep space probes during emergency transmission mode. The object wasn't just sending signals into space anymore. It was sending them toward Earth. The decoded data fragments formed trinary strings, sequences of 3 repeating digits. When converted into base 60, the numerical structure mirrored the Sumerian counting system, the very one used on clay tablets recovered near Uruk. It was as if the object was communicating in a mathematical language older than civilization itself. For a brief moment, all systems went silent again. Then came a low-frequency burst, a wave so powerful it rattled magnetometers worldwide. The pulse propagated through the ionosphere, triggering electrical disturbances from Chile to China. Satellites flickered, navigation systems failed. In some regions, compass readings spun erratically, pointing not north, but directly toward the Iraqi desert. Within hours, footage began surfacing on social media. Residents near ancient excavation sites reported hearing deep resonant tones at night, a hum so low it vibrated through stone. Animals reacted violently, fleeing the area in chaotic patterns. Archaeologists stationed near Al-Qadisiyah were evacuated without explanation. Military convoys sealed off a 30-mile radius around the dig site. What were they hiding there? Unofficial leaks claimed that instruments on site began detecting faint seismic tremors under the sand, rhythmic, not tectonic. Some believed the signals from 3I/ATLAS were activating something buried below. That's when old legends resurfaced. According to ancient Sumerian tablets, the messenger of Anu was said to return from the heavens to awaken the sleepers beneath the ground. The description, written nearly 5,000 years ago, detailed a celestial vessel shaped like the heart of a flame, descending once more when the blood of the stars grows cold. The parallel was undeniable. Scientists who once laughed at such myths now found themselves studying them for context. Were these texts allegorical or historical records encoded as myth? If the symbols carved in Mesopotamian stone matched the markings seen on the surface of 3I/ATLAS, then history wasn't myth at all. It was memory. Then something extraordinary happened. On November 30th at precisely 11:11 UTC, a deep space network relay in Canberra received a directed beam transmission. The signal was clean, deliberate, and unmistakably intelligent. It lasted exactly 108 seconds. The waveform contained no known language, but its carrier tone oscillated at precisely 432 Hz, a frequency ancient cultures regarded as the tone of the universe. When analyzed spectrally, the signal resolved into visual form, a series of spirals forming a symbol identical to those found inside the tomb of Gilgamesh. Coincidence could no longer explain it. Hours later, the Webb telescope recorded what appeared to be a partial opening along the object's equatorial band. The thermal readings suggested a release of energy, not destructive, but controlled. The edges glowed in a spectrum consistent with ionized xenon, a gas used in spacecraft propulsion. Every model now agreed 3I/ATLAS was not a natural body, it was built, and it was awakening. Inside NASA's Goddard Command Center, analysts debated the unthinkable, whether to initiate an active reply, but others warned that the message wasn't a greeting, it was an invitation, or perhaps a summons. The last trinary code sequence received when translated through Fibonacci harmonic intervals produced a single phrase in English, "We remember." After that, all transmissions ceased. Meanwhile, back on Earth, something else began to stir. Satellite thermal scans over Iraq detected a growing heat anomaly beneath the sands, exactly where the ancient ruins of Uruk rest. The temperature was rising steadily, forming a circular pattern nearly 800 meters wide. Yet no volcanic or geothermal source existed there. It was coming from below the ruins, from within the Earth itself. Within 24 hours, a sandstorm engulfed the entire region, so dense that imaging satellites couldn't penetrate the atmosphere. Local reports vanished. All communication lines were rerouted through military channels, but a single leaked image, allegedly from a reconnaissance drone, showed a strange sight. A glowing pattern burned into the desert surface, forming 3 concentric rings with a triangle at the center, the same emblem that had pulsed from 3I/ATLAS hours earlier. The connection was undeniable. The object wasn't just signaling Earth, it was activating a response from something already here. Researchers theorized that 3I/ATLAS and the Iraqi anomaly were quantum-linked remnants of the same technology, a system left dormant until its counterpart returned within range. If true, humanity was witnessing a reactivation of an ancient network older than recorded history. Then came the sound. At 2:37 local time, residents across the Middle East reported hearing a deep resonant tone rising from beneath the ground, a chord-like vibration that lasted nearly 7 minutes. Seismographs recorded no tectonic movement, yet the sound was audible across hundreds of miles. Some described it as metal breathing. Immediately after, a narrow beam of light shot upward from the desert, piercing the storm clouds and extending all the way into the stratosphere. Satellites captured it clearly, a thin white column that flickered 3 times before fading away. Back at Mission Control, analysts compared timestamps. The moment the beam appeared, 3I/ATLAS emitted a mirrored flash of identical duration and rhythm. 2 signals, one from deep space, one from Earth, responding to each other in perfect synchronization. The conclusion was inevitable. A connection had been established. Data scientists mapped the pulse timing and discovered a binary handshake, an exchange of packets, like a computer protocol initializing a link. In other words, communication had begun. Governments fell silent. The Vatican issued an unscheduled statement urging calm. The United Nations held an emergency closed-door meeting, and the public, piecing together fragments from leaks and amateur astronomers, realized the terrifying truth. Something out there was talking to something down here. For the next 12 hours, the world held its breath. Then, without warning, every deep space sensor monitoring 3I/ATLAS recorded a massive burst of energy. Not explosive, but wave-like, expanding evenly in all directions. The energy field extended nearly 300,000 kilometers, encompassing the Earth-Moon system within minutes. Communications wavered, GPS systems reset, magnetometers spiked off the charts. Then, as suddenly as it began, everything normalized. Power grids flickered back on, but something fundamental had changed. For the first time in recorded history, Earth's magnetosphere emitted a harmonic resonance, a sustained frequency echoing the pulse of 3I/ATLAS. The planet itself was now part of the signal chain. Scientists working around the clock discovered a terrifying synchronization between that frequency and the Schumann resonance, Earth's natural electromagnetic heartbeat. The implication was staggering. 3I/ATLAS had linked with the planet's field directly. From this moment, every transmission we sent, every signal we broadcast into space, might now be traveling through a network that didn't belong to us. And then came the final image. Webb captured one last visual before entering safe mode. It showed the object's surface fully illuminated, not glowing randomly, but displaying an organized array of hexagonal panels forming a vast geometric map. When overlaid onto Earth's coordinates, those panels corresponded exactly to ancient megalithic sites: Giza, Uruk, Teotihuacan, Stonehenge. Each location formed a node in a global pattern, one that matched the internal structure of 3I/ATLAS itself. It was never just a visitor. It was a part of something much larger, a network spanning both space and time. And just before the Webb's instruments powered down, a faint light shimmered across one of those panels, forming a word, not in English, not in Sumerian, but in pure mathematical code. When translated, it meant one thing: awaken. Now, with the world staring upward and the sands of Iraq trembling beneath the surface, humanity faces a revelation it can neither control nor deny. The three anomalies, the pulse, the structure, the motion, weren't warnings of destruction. They were announcements of return. 3I/ATLAS is not what we think. It's not debris, not a comet, not a wanderer. It's a key, and whatever it's unlocking has already begun to open. The biggest fear now isn't whether 3I/ATLAS is hostile. It's whether we even matter in whatever is unfolding. Intelligence agencies quietly issued new threat classifications, not for invasion, but for irrelevance. If an ancient system is reactivating, humanity might simply be collateral to a process billions of years in the making. We've always believed we were observers of the universe. Now it seems we are standing inside someone else's operating system, and the system has just come back online. In Baghdad, a lone archaeologist, one who had worked on the sealed excavation at Uruk, risked everything to send a final encrypted message to colleagues overseas. She claimed the underground chamber wasn't stone at all. It was metal, a perfectly smooth alloy that tools couldn't scratch. And when the pulse from space struck, the tomb walls resonated like a tuning fork struck by a celestial hammer. She described inscriptions glowing from beneath the surface, not carved, but emerging, as though the structure itself was remembering what it was built for. Before her message cut off, she sent one chilling line: "It wasn't a tomb, it's a door." Now the question the world trembles to ask is the one we can no longer avoid. If something ancient beneath Earth is waking up, what happens when the door fully opens?